Here's something new! I'm trying out a new format for Faults on Video, where I'll be reviewing and rating missions in games or episodes of TV shows and movies. With this video specifically rating the first quests in Horizon Zero Dawn, specifically the remastered version of the game. The scoring system I will be using is based on that of Kuro the Artist's Ben 10 Breakdown, a series I definitely recommend if you enjoy Ben 10. I will be watching / playing the subject in question and then scoring it based on 5 different categories, which I will then average out into an overall score. These 5 categories will each be scored ranging from 0 at the lowest to 10 at the highest, and will consist of plot, where I will be judging the story of the subject, including how well written it is, does it flow well, and does it portray the story it is trying to tell well. Characterization, where I will be judging the characters, such as are they in character, do they play their role well, and how well do I feel the actors are playing their parts. Visuals and audio, where I'll judge them based on how good they are to look at and to listen to, so things like backgrounds, music, and camera angles will all be judged here. Gameplay is where I will score the mission based on how fun it is to play, not just on a first time playthrough, but subsequent playthroughs as well. Please note that this category will only apply to games and only on missions with actual gameplay, so cutscene only missions will not be judged here. And lastly, my personal enjoyment. How much do I enjoy watching / playing the subject in question? Please note that these judgments are completely my own at the time of making this video and are not meant to represent anyone else, so please don't be too mad if you think I misjudged one of these categories. This is all just for fun, and I know I'm prone to changing my opinions on a regular basis, so I may well look back on these and think, what on earth was I thinking? Anyway, let's get on with the video.
Oh, Mother, this child needs a name by which to know her. That your love may warm her life as the rising sun warms all the earth. Speak her name! Aloy! Aloy! And so her name is blessed.
Opening segments are always given special attention by developers, as they know they need to grab the attention of new players as quickly as possible, and the intro movie is no exception to this. The plot is simple. It introduces Aloy's surrogate father, Rost, shows him travelling across the Sacred Lands as he makes his way up the mountain to perform Aloy's naming ritual with High Matriarch Teersa. Simple, to the point, and introduces us to the world ruled by machines. Easy 10 out of 10 for the plot. While Rost has a different personality than he later has in the story, it's understandable that he'd be especially gentle and caring towards Aloy as a baby, as opposed to when she's older. We also get to see Teersa's kind nature and willingness to ignore the other High Matriarchs and bless who she chooses, regardless of what the others think. Speaking of which, we also get introduced to Lansra's aggressive nature, referring to Aloy only as it and berating Rost for really nothing at all. Again, 10 out of 10, perfect. Need I say how beautiful the scenery is? The environments, the machines, the music, Rost's powerful announcement of Aloy's name? All done absolutely amazing. Couldn't be better. And let's finish off the intro movie with a perfect score. I love watching this scene, even when I'm not playing the game. Sometimes I like to watch it specifically for Rost calling Aloy's name, just because I simply want to. It's just too good. The intro movie deserves a perfect 10 out of 10 overall.
everywhere.
The first actual quest in Horizon Zero Dawn, where Aloy is so upset by being shunned that she storms off and falls into a ruin of the old world that will change her life forever. First off, the plot here is getting a 9. The game drops you into the ruin where you can explore until you find the focus, where you get given a very simple puzzle to solve to open a door. You also learn how to collect data points, first by scanning the data point from Isaac's father, and from collecting them from other corpses around the ruin. Once Rost finds Aloy, he is upset that she's using an old world device that she's refusing to give up, but ultimately decides not to force it from her, and decides that if Aloy is going to be running off, she'll need to learn to survive in the wilds, perfectly setting us up for the next quest. The only problem I have here that is losing this quest from a perfect 10 is the scene where Aloy falls into the ruin. I'm no expert in injuries, but a young child tripping, rolling like this, and falling into the ruin back first, many meters down, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd be outright killed by the fall. Yes, she falls into a body of water that is deep enough that she has to pull herself out of it, but when you actually play this quest and step back into the water, it's only deep enough to cover her feet. This inconsistency, I feel, is enough to lose 1 point here, giving the quest a still amazing 9. Characterization gets a 10. Aloy's character is portrayed perfectly here, both from the frustration from being shunned for reasons she doesn't know, her hesitation when the focus activates on her head for the first time, and even the little she gives the hologram. You can really tell that this was the first friendly interaction she's ever had. Even down to the little that she gives. Rost is also pretty much how I would imagine a father would react if he lost his daughter in the shops. Calling out to her, then once he finds her, while feeling relieved, he immediately tells her off for the danger she could have put herself in. He also shows a very healthy amount of self-control, patiently asking Aloy to give him the focus, and while he initially reaches towards her, he does stop himself from forcing it from her. Good self-control, Rost. Even though Aloy is a child, Rost is respecting her decisions, as he clearly knows how stubborn she is, deciding to instead turn their attention towards something productive, as opposed to forcing the focus from Aloy and potentially turning her anger towards him. Visuals and audio, meanwhile, this is where the score dips a bit. While there's nothing exactly wrong here, a lot of time in this quest is spent in a ruin with little actually going on. Yes, several quests in this series do take place in ruins, but most of them have some dramatic visual or auditory moments tied to the story, while this quest is clearly part 1 of the 2 tutorial quests. Also, in the Remastered edition specifically, is it just me, or does this guy look kinda creepy? I'm gonna give it a 7, because during a first-time playthrough, the holograms in the Dark Ruin are all a novel experience, but for repeat playthroughs, this will feel pretty unremarkable, so I feel like a 7 is a fair score. Gameplay is where a gift from the past takes the biggest hit. I'm giving it a 5 because while it is good for first-time players to get a feel for the controls and see how solving puzzles can work in a safe environment, it isn't really that enjoyable during repeat playthroughs. And since I am scoring based on both, I feel like a 5 is fair. Speaking of which, how much do I enjoy this quest? I feel like I'd be exaggerating if I said I really enjoy the whole thing. For the most part, seeing the first cutscene, Aloy getting the focus, seeing her first hologram, and the ending is all I really need from this quest. It's not something I will watch without skipping 90% of the quest, and the same goes for gameplay too. I'm gonna give it another 7 here, as I feel there's nothing wrong with the quest itself. It's just one of those that once you've played through it once, most of the enjoyment has been had. Yeah, the cutscenes are still enjoyable though, so that's why I'm giving it a 7 as opposed to lower. And that leaves a gift from the past with an overall score of 7.6. I would definitely understand if others wanted to rate it higher, but this is my rating as of right now.
shape? What do they mean?
Take your bow.
This is the perfect way to teach the player the basics of the wilds in Horizon, by having us play through the time where Ross teaches Aloy exactly this, as opposed to just having the game give us tips and text to teach us. Love it. The plot here gets a 10. It teaches the player while also keeping things from getting too boring by having the back and forth between Rost and Aloy, including some breaks in lessons with Teb's little side plot of running the Brave Trail and falling into a herd of machines. And that montage of Aloy growing up is quite possibly the best scene in the entire game. Also, I love the touch of there being failure cutscenes if you get spotted. Initially of Ross saving Aloy, or of the Watcher lunging on her during the rescuing Teb section. Rost and Aloy are both very in character, with Rost telling Aloy what to do, Aloy wanting to know why, only for Rost to sternly tell her to do as she's told while teaching by example. We also see Teb's more friendly nature, smiling to the outcasts, then later thanking them for saving him, despite it being against tribal law to speak to outcasts. Teb's father also gives us some peeks into the Nora's view of outcasts, and about Aloy specifically as well. During the montage at the end, Aloy showing her skills improving shows that she is more than capable on her own, lifting herself up onto the platform and not accepting Ross' offer for help. Bast picks up from his innocent unsureness of how to act cameo from A Gift from the Past, by showing his very unfriendly side that he has later on, throwing a rock at Aloy's face and berating her for being motherless. Aloy can choose between 3 different responses here, either knocking the rock out of Bast's hand or aiming for his head, both of which I feel are very Aloy, or just simply dropping the rock. Personally, I feel like dropping the rock and doing nothing is not very fitting of Aloy's character, but I don't think this is enough to deduct a point from this category, which is also getting a 10 by the way. I think Ross' behaviour towards the end is very telling of a secret he refuses to state, his desire to stay with Aloy. He knows that if Aloy succeeds in the proving, she will no longer be an outcast and won't be able to stay with him as per Nora law. I wouldn't be surprised if a part of him didn't want to tell Aloy about the proving, and was trying to discourage her from being interested in it so that she would never have to be separated from him forever. He clearly knows that he can't keep this truth from her, no matter how much he may have wanted to. It just wouldn't have been right. Visuals especially is where Lessons of the Wild shines compared to the previous quest, literally. You fully get to see the world around you, the sun shining overhead, the colors changing as it sets and goes into evening time, seeing machines from afar, the trees, the grass, the tentacles of the Horus weaving throughout the valley. It's gorgeous. And the montage at the end is just chef's kiss perfect. Although, there is a slight funny thing with this quest visually, and that comes to Aloy's wound. In Remastered specifically, her fringe is long enough that you can't really see the wound very well. And funnily enough, in both versions of the game, the moment where Rost is cleaning Aloy's wound, he doesn't move her hair out of the way, and it looks like he's just putting her hair into the wound. And Aloy is asking why he's doing that. While this could very well deduct a point, I feel like the rest of the quest is so good visually that it completely overshadows this goofy moment and keeps the score at a perfect 10 out of 10. Gameplay-wise, this quest is in a very similar situation as A Gift from the Past, where it's a very tutorial-based quest and won't really appeal to repeat playthroughs where these skills have all been mastered, with this one featuring a fair bit of just walking through the forest with Rost as well. Also, during the point where Aloy is meant to be guiding Teb to safety, look at how easy this is to do.
How do you know to avoid them? How are you doing this?
possible.
Wow, Teb is very easy to impress if he thinks that me just walking in a straight line is impressive. Anyway, for this, I'm gonna give this quest a 5 as well. I feel like that's fair. As for my personal attainment by this quest, I'm gonna give it an 8. While the gameplay does drag on a little bit for me, I do really enjoy the cutscenes, and Rost clearly not knowing how to clean a wound. And like I've said multiple times already, that ending cutscene, it's amazing! So, what do you think of this video? Do you agree with my ratings? Or was I way off? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also, what do you think about this type of thoughts on video? Would you want to see more like this? How about other media such as TV shows? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. And as always, thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye!